We are in Nashville at Belltone Recording. Today, with us for this session, we're so happy he's here, Aaron Lee Tasjan. Aaron, thank you for being here, and thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
What will be the first song you're to perform for us?
This is a brand new song called Love on the Road. Every night you sit at home with the lights turned way down low, hang your head and cry till morning comes. Wishing on a wishing star, now you wonder who you are, and is there anybody better you could be? You've got to find a way to get away, to get out of your head and get your heart back in the game. Gotta take your love out on the road. Loneliness is only love with nowhere to go. You gotta pick it up in a pickup truck and drive it town to town, feeling fine as wine when you spend your time spreading love around. Dashboard Jesus, mirror dice, nothing ever felt so right. And don't you love when things just coincide? Ashtray holds your cigarette, a box of country tape cassettes, and ain't it just a dream to be alive? Gotta take your love out on the road. Loneliness is only love with nowhere to go. You gotta pick it up in a pickup truck and drive it town to town, feeling fine as wine when you spend your time spreading love around. Some get the wooden dollhouse, some get the plastic on TV, and you ought to know by now, it's only good if it's supposed to be. Gotta take your love out on the road. Loneliness is only love with nowhere to go. Gotta take your love out on the road. Loneliness is only love with nowhere to go. Gotta take your love out on the road. Loneliness is only love.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you. In researching, other artists for these sessions here, your name actually comes up a lot as an influence for other artists. I mean, is that, I don't know, is saying like a songwriter, is that insulting or is that like a good thing? I'm not quite sure because sometimes I say songwriter, and they're like, oh, that means I'm not famous on my own or something. And it's like, I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry. But I feel like that actually fits you because other songwriters are quoting you or how saying, something that you said to them influenced them.
Music is, it's a conduit for a lot of things, For me, it's really saved me kind of throughout my life, I think we all face challenges in life and, challenging situations, things that happen that are just out of your control, and you just kind of have to submit to what's happening. But in those moments, in the heaviest moments of my life, music has always been there for me. And in that way, I think I've always wanted to try to find ways to give something back to music, to be, express gratitude for what music's given me. So when I hear things like that, it makes me feel like maybe in some small way I've been able to do that a little bit, you know. My dream, more than anything, for music, is that it will continue on, you know, that somewhere out there's some 11-year-old kid, you know, who might get to hear something that I've done, or, you know, any number of artists have done, and be inspired by it and write something that totally blows everything I've ever made out of the water, you know. That would be the very best case scenario. So, I take that comment for what it's worth to me, which is that I've been able to contribute something to this that has allowed others to find their voice too.
Yeah, that's great. You started playing and writing very young, as a teenager. You started touring when you were like 14, 15? Mm-hmm. I mean, how was that? Were your parents just like, okay, be gone? Or well, that just boggles my mind.
I think, you know, my dad didn't really understand this part of it at first. I was excelling as a guitar player as a teenager, in the jazz world, playing big band jazz music, very influenced by Freddie Green from the Count Basie Orchestra, who sort of famously never really played a guitar solo. He was the rhythm guitar player in the band, and it really gave that band a special sound. And I got really into that style of playing, and at 16, I went to New York City and won an award from Wynton Marsalis for my jazz guitar playing, and my dad understood that part of it really well, and he had been a jazz musician himself. Bass trombone was his instrument, and so that we had that connection. But you know, I was feeling very pulled, you know, at the same time as I was doing that, I was writing all these songs, you know, and feeling very called to express myself that way, because, you know, I got to have a few experiences early on playing my songs where I could see that, you know, someone who was hearing it was really taking something very personal away from the experience of hearing the song, and we were relating to each other in this really special way. And that was kind of the source of this internal struggle for me, because it's like, you know, you want to, unless you have like terrible parents, which I did not. I had wonderful parents. You want to make them proud and all of those things. And I knew, you know, the work I was doing as a jazz guitar player was definitely making my dad proud. And then I knew that the life of a traveling troubadour songwriter, you know, was not really something he envisioned for me. I remember at one point, my mom and I were talking one time, and it was right around my 30th birthday, and she sort of confided in me. It's like, you know, your dad told me one time his greatest fear for you was that you would be 30 years old and playing in a bar somewhere. You know, sort of referencing me being a songwriter. But, you know, by that point in time, I was really on track to do this for a living. You know, I was making my own records, and labels were starting to come around and show interest, and, you know, I was starting to get asked to open for artists I really admired, like Freddie Johnston and the legendary Shack Shakers, and getting to have those kind of, you know, my first blush with, you know, success, which took, you know, 10 years of work to kind of get to just just the very beginning of like, maybe I might be able to do this. Anytime I doubt myself in what I'm doing, because it is a tough life and it's a hard business, but I always think back to the fact that this is before it was even a thought of a career or money or something I needed to do to make a living. This is what I was doing even as a little kid, you know. So this is my calling in life, and this is a part of the fabric of who I am as a person. And whether there's any money or not, I'll keep doing it. But it's a great reminder, having started so young, that this is really what I'm meant to do.
That makes great sense. I mean, and you know, obviously you've lived in different parts of the country. I mean, at one point you grew up in California.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because you're saying like your parents are fearful that you'd be playing, you know, in a club, you know, when you're 30, and I'm like, well, actually, you know, clubs in like L.A., New York, Nashville would be it's different than, you know, ending up playing like a motel in Reno.
Totally.
You know?
And I've done both.
With grace, of course.
Yes, of course.
Would you like to go ahead and introduce the next song that you're going to
Sure,
perform?
yeah. I'll do this song off of my latest record, which came out in April. And this song, I actually started writing back in 2015. It was the summer of 2015. It was right around the 4th of July. And I was thinking a lot, you know, about where we were as a country at that time. And I've never really been a political songwriter. I think of myself more as an observer of, you know, social, you know, commentary, you know, Mark Twain, you know, kind of a thing, with, you know, a bit of my own personal story, you know, mixed in, because I always feel like the truth is best. But I was sort of reflecting on that, and it was right around the 4th of July, and I love to kind of joke around too, and I decided, I went on like Facebook and Twitter and stuff, and for some reason I was just messing around, but I was like, hey, did you guys know that Lee Greenwood is actually Canadian? And people got really like upset about it. You know, the tweet basically went viral, and like hundreds of people were commenting on it and getting really upset. And so I kind of, you know, wrote this song a little bit in response to that, you know, because, you know, in America, patriotism has been very heavily adopted by, you know, the right, and particularly the far right. You know, I have friends that are all over the political spectrum. You know, I don't live my life based on, you know, whether or not I agree with somebody. But it's interesting to me that we sort of have come to view, you know, loving America or believing in America as something that is uniquely conservative in this country, and I kind of disagree with that idea. And this song sort of speaks directly to that. It's called "I Love America Better Than You." I love America better than you, her dirty water and her hot dogs too, purple mountaintops, jazz and soda pop. I love America better than you. Well, happy independence, I hope you weren't dependent on we're all created equal to go live some kind of dream. And I'm not sure that sparklers or $20 parking is gonna get me free enough to hear the eagles scream. I love America better than you, her dirty money and her hot dogs too, rich celebrities, wealth disparities. I love America better than you. Hey, Uncle Sam, I was raised a man by a daddy who went to Vietnam. I guess he's doing better than his buddies on the wall. Good old trigger finger strikes again when it pulls on things he don't intend. Meanwhile, his mind is wandered off somewhere down the hall. I love America better than you, her dirty laundry and her hot dogs too, guns and culture shock, fast food restaurants. I love America better than you. They say our founding fathers built a Christian nation, but nowhere in the Bible does God bless the USA. At least East he gave us Walmart, and the people that we called the Indians, who showed us how to smoke tobacco. Now that's a good revenge. I love America better than you, her founding mothers and her hot dogs too. First black president, insurrectionist. I love America better than you. I love America better than you, her crowded cities and her hot dogs too. Land of immigrants, queer, trans, feminists. I love America better than you. I love America better than you. I love America better than you.
I love that song.
Thank you.
Almost as much as hot dogs.
Me too. Can't go wrong with a good hot dog. John Prine taught me that.
That's fantastic. Do you have one more song to kind of play us out?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll finish out today with a song that since the theme of the day is Kim Ritchie, I'll finish out with a song that I wrote with my dear friend Kim for my record, for my Stellar Evolution record. And I wrote this with Kim right around the time that I was making the decision in my life to clean things up a bit. You know, I'd had a couple of decades worth of of hard living, as they say. But in 2018, I was on tour in Portland, Oregon, and you know, frankly, I hadn't been doing anything for a whole week except for taking drugs and drinking tequila, and I don't think I'd even eaten anything or anything like that. And with this hot tub at our Airbnb, and I lost some time, and I lost consciousness, and passed out and fell into the hot tub and had a little seizure, and I had to go to the hospital, you know, and it was a big wake up call for me in my life, and you know, I had to make some changes, and because at the end of the day, you know, I asked myself a question. I said, you know, it's not that I don't enjoy partying, because I certainly do, but do I want to be, you know, an artist, or do I want to be kind of a guy that just has fun at all costs, you know? And it was an easy question to answer. You know, music was the thing that had always been there for me my whole life, you know, before drugs or booze or anything like that was even a thought. So I was really trying to capture the feeling of what it's like to be trapped in the throes of addiction. And, you know, this sort of metaphor came to me of the idea of, like, you know, a bird who's unable to fly, you know, a bird who's unable to do what they're born to do, you know. And I knew Kim, you know, I didn't even have to explain any of this to Kim. She's so perceptive and just one of those people, you know, with her ear to your soul, kind of, when you're talking to her, you know. And so we were able to write this together once around her kitchen table again, once again around the old Kim Ritchie kitchen table, and it's this is another song off of my latest record, Stellar Evolution, and it's just called Bird.
Well, we're certainly happy you're still with us.
Oh, thank you. Me too. Alarm goes off, sit up in your bed, stretch your arms to the ceiling. Best laid plans slip through your hands, you've gotten used to the feeling. Why do anything today put it off till tomorrow. You're just fine, pajamas and wine. You're happy keeping the bar low. Your head is up in the clouds somewhere, but you cannot fly. Flapping your wings as you go nowhere, but you cannot fly. The bird who cannot fly. Dopamine, cortisol and weed, oh how they ruffle your feathers. Perched in your nest, red-eyed and stressed, bracing yourself for the weather. Head is up in the clouds somewhere, but you cannot fly. Flapping your wings as you go nowhere, but you cannot fly. The bird who cannot fly. La da da da, la da da da, la 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 la. How long can you keep whistling the same song? How long can you keep whistling the same song? How long can you keep whistling the same song? How long can you keep whistling the same song? Head is up in the clouds somewhere, but you cannot fly. Flapping your wings as you go nowhere, but you cannot fly. The bird who cannot fly.
Tasjan, thank you again for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.